How's it going, guys? I'm back with your Smackdown review. So, the smarks just still raging about Goldberg. Still raging about the Fiend losing the title. Apparently, he was supposed to keep the title forever. And, people don't seem to realize, don't like to admit that they weren't really even doing anything with the Fiend. He had this world title run. He had this even Stevens match with Daniel Bryan, with The Miz, and they weren't doing any unique storylines or unique promos. It was lazy, as per usual. And, Bray gave it his all. Obviously, the guy was burning the midnight oil, trying to come up with, the best material, probably. I would say maybe 30% of his material probably made it onto TV. Like usual, because it's garbage every single night, much like this night, much like this episode of SmackDown. So let's get right into it, because we're actually kicking things off with Goldberg. All Goldberg says here is, it's not about who's last. It's about who's next. And the fans are booing, of course. Roman Reigns comes out, gets cheered. And then Roman just takes the mic and says, "I'm next." And then Goldberg just nods and Roman leaves the ring. And that's it. Here's the thing. Now, this is when I start to get annoyed. That's all you're doing for your big Mania match? You went through all this, you're just gonna give the smarks more fuel to the fire by doing, this is lazy creative. You can't even find some way of getting Roman and Goldberg's paths to cross. It's gotta be as simple as that. No one else wants to challenge Goldberg. Okay, there's barely probably anybody back there who would really look good in the ring with Goldberg and you'd actually believe stood a chance against him. Roman Reigns is beating The Undertaker, so of course that's going to work, and I'm looking forward to seeing this match. But once again, I'd like to see a story. How hard would it be to come up with something here to get just a little something, just a little flavor added to this? Instead, it's got to be really just as simple as point A to point B. Goldberg says who's next. Roman says, "I'm next." No promo, no nothing, no controversy, no, nothing creative at all. Not really anything uncreative, just nothing, basically. You can't even say it was uncreative because there was nothing here. There was no meat. There was no potatoes. There wasn't even any vegetables. There wasn't even a table to put the meat and potatoes on. There was nothing to set the table at all. This was nothing. There wasn't even a kitchen. Nothing was cooking. I'm just saying, you have a match that this is actually a dream match, not Johnny Gargano versus Tabasco sauce over in NXT. This is an actual dream match. This is something that you wouldn't expect to see. And they're giving it to you, which is what's surprising. And you know what I love? I didn't even talk about this in my Super Showdown review. You guys, the smarks, are complaining about Goldberg winning. He's 53 years old. He's 53, guys. He's too old. I'm looking at AEW. Chris Jericho is 49 years old. In New Japan, they've got a guy wrestling there that's the same age. I think he's even like a champion or something, like an intercontinental type of champion over in New Japan, right? So like the IWGP. What's the other belt after the world title? That guy, he's like 49. So, how being 4 years older is too old is beyond me. Not to mention that Goldberg looks more masculine, is in better shape than half the yahoos on this roster. So how are you people, you're saying like Goldberg has no credibility. How about you? How about the fans? How about the people talking down about Goldberg, trying to make this guy look like he's worthless. Also, people have the nerve to talk about Goldberg as a talent. Like, they never seem to realize that it was never about Goldberg's wrestling skill. These people still don't get it. Do you think it was about The Rock being a good wrestler? Do you think it was about Hulk Hogan being a good wrestler? About The Undertaker being a good wrestler? Do you think it was about Stone Cold being a good wrestler? No, it was all about personality, aura, natural charisma. People like Goldberg didn't even need to have silver tongues because they were basically, made out of gold just by their appearance. They got into a ring, and the way how the crowd just connected with the presence of Goldberg, it was almost like a magic aura came out around him. When you sell out the Georgia Dome for a world title match against Hulk Hogan, then you could talk. Until now, you people could shut your mouths and go sit down, because you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm so sick of all these sad soy boys in like smart culture. Yeah, Goldberg won. Like, shut up already. First of all, this whole product is garbage, and this is the one thing that you cling to and and overanalyze. And you talk about, this means that AEW is so much better. The champion is about the same age. Then Naomi gets beat by Bayley by disqualification, and Sasha Banks is back. Just great. And how about that award-winning, magical performance? You guys want to talk about Goldberg, right? Oh, Goldberg this, Goldberg can't talk, Goldberg can't wrestle. How about Bayley? Let's talk a little bit about Bayley. Looking like a total Karen over there with her haircut. Looks like she needs to speak to the manager. Looks like she's trying to make a return, and she needs to speak to the manager. And this promo, it's so cringeworthy. She's like, I'm only here for one thing and one thing only. Like, all generic lines. Like, you can hear, like, how slow she's talking, and you could try to, like, chalk this up and make an excuse for her. Oh, she's trying to be the methodical heel, speaking slowly. She's not Jake the Snake Roberts, guys. She's probably one of the worst I've heard in quite some time. She actually sounds worse than Sasha Banks, and that's really saying something. This is just really, like, how is it that almost every single time she goes out there, they put her on the mic? Like, Roman Reigns says 2 words, literally 2 words, and Bayley gets several minutes where she's just completely dragging out what she's saying to introduce Sasha Banks, and she's like, you idiots, and like just all this generic stuff. It's like all the cliches like always get rolled out every single time she opens her mouth. Super scripted, and if it's not scripted, then that's really sad. But Sasha Banks comes back. So like I said, she interferes, and then the referee, that female referee that they have, she actually turns it into a tag match. And I have said this, and I think I said it in my Raw review. I've been like just realizing something else lately, because this is like, it's so boring and such a hideous show that the only thing I could do really is just start picking it apart. But like, this is something pretty glaring, because when you look at it from this angle, you'll like really see just how stupid this whole show is. The referee turns it into a tag match. She's a referee. She's there to officiate the match and call the decision. She's not there to make the matches. It's bad enough when the wrestlers make the matches, but she's a referee. I get it, she's an official, and Corey Graves says, she asserted her authority. Yeah, but she's not a GM. She's not an owner. She's not Vince McMahon. She's not Triple H. She's not Stephanie. At least, I don't know, make Bruce Pritchard just an on-screen, just somebody to come out there really quickly and say, this is now a tag match. Look how easy it was with Teddy Long. You just come out there and be like, this match is now a tag team match. Holla, 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 and all that. But at least it made sense because he's the authority figure, so he could do that. So instead of just calling it a disqualification, you think about it, you could do that with almost any match. Why doesn't any match just become a tag team match, magically when a partner interferes? Who is this referee? And I know this is probably not the only time this has happened, but they've done it numerous times where just magically these matches just sometimes happen. They get restarted and and become a whole new match with no explanation other than this. And this explanation doesn't make any sense. And this is what I'm saying. If this is their explanation for getting from point A to point B, you can only imagine what the creative team writing Randy Orton's reason for doing what he did to Edge. And you might be sitting there and wondering why is it taking so long and why they keep doing all this stuff with Matt Hardy and Kevin. This is why. Because this is what we're working with here. We're working with absolute incompetence on so many levels. Then we've got backstage. It's Kofi Kingston and Bobby Roode. They have did I even say who won the last match? Lacey Evans and Naomi defeated Sasha Banks and Bayley. So Sasha loses her first match back. Anyway, we've got Roode and Kofi. And backstage, there's some NFL personality, and he's just standing around, and they're like, oh, hey, look, just some random person who barely acknowledges Kofi Kingston and Big E. Then they do this face-to-face before commercial, so they're just, standing there backstage face-to-face, and it just goes to commercial. Who does that? Who just stands there, and that's it? Okay, you don't want to fight each other. No, nothing. Okay. So we get to the ring. Ziggler interferes. And then we've got Kofi, Robert Roode, defeating Kofi Kingston. Okay, great. All right, backstage we've got Otis speaking to Tucker. They don't know what to do with this Mandy thing. It's I'm telling you, they have no creativity at all. I can't see it that Vince McMahon is killing every single creative idea. I know that's what JD and a lot of the other people, want you to think smart. Oh, it's all Vince McMahon. No, there's a whole creative team. There's 20-something guys, almost 30 guys back there. Triple H, Stephanie, Bruce Pritchard, all these, delicate geniuses that all know the craft and know the business. Got veterans back there. And this is the type of stuff we get. You've got this thing right here, this romance angle, right? It could be something to launch Otis's career and make him likable and endearing. But instead, what do they got here? Tucker says, he's going to get him the love he deserves. He's going to bring him out in front of the fans. So they're going to have a match next week. Maybe they'll win a match. Maybe they'll face off against a jobber team. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so much better than having storytelling, and having interesting twists and turns and different angles and unpredictability on the show. So much better to just go out there and have a riveting match, right? Are you kidding me? You guys came up with the storyline. Is it that... How do they come up with a story and they don't really have any idea how it ends? I get it. Vince Russo used to write the same way. Sometimes he wouldn't know where an angle, it began, or how it was going to evolve and how it would eventually conclude. But he had some idea, and they play it by ear. Here, they're not even playing it by ear. They're not even playing it at all. They're just like, oh, forget about it. Before it even gets started, they stick with it. Then they kind of get stuck. It's like these writers don't even get the chance to get writer's block. They've been blocked since day one. No creative ideas are coming through. I'm saying, there's no possible way that they could be striking out, every single show if they had so many great ideas. I said something great would have to slip through the cracks sooner or later. It can't be Vince McMahon is just, putting a big red X on every single script that they write. Then, oh my God, this was probably the worst segment ever, with Braun Strowman, a contract signing for basically for just an intercontinental title match that no one even cares about. Like, it's not even a big match, that they've been building up or anything. Like, I could see at least the Elimination Chamber thing for the women, because at least with that, okay, there has been some build. You had Shayna Baszler take a bite out of Becky Lynch's neck, so they, at least they put a little fanfare into that. The contract signing is always boring. It's overdone. And this just felt like the cheapest contract signing ever. There's something about this faction. Like, I liked Sammy in this role, but here I was just, not in the mood, really. Something about this just irked me. Just this team of Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. I just feel like this is a team of guys going absolutely nowhere. And I know what you're probably going to say. Alright, so when they did New Day, that was a group of people where their careers were just, headed into the toilet. They weren't doing anything with them. They were kind of just in flux. And then they, put them in a faction. They started selling tons of merchandise and became super popular and super over. I get it. I get why they would want to try to, put those types of guys together. But this is not one of those things. They don't have any merchandise. There's no gimmick here. It's just Sami Zayn ranting and raving. And a lot of times it could be entertaining, but here it's kind of starting to run its course. And it really showed here. And it really showed that Braun Strowman, this guy is done. I mean, let me take that back. He's been done. It's the same thing like the argument with the Fiend. Oh, they're burying him. The guy's the Intercontinental Champion. But do you notice that the guy doesn't matter? They've got nothing planned for this guy. Don't you see every single time WrestleMania rolls around? Well, at least I guess he might be on the card this year. They're not going to stick him on the pre-show or tag teaming with a referee's son. At least he might actually wrestle with or defend the Intercontinental title. So here, I guess he was signing a contract again, just to face Nakamura, but he says I'll fight all three of you if I have to. And then, Sami Zayn just makes a change to the contract. Once again, it just shows how totally fake this stuff is. You've got a contract that's all typed up. It's supposed to be a legal document and everything. As legal as a wrestling contract could be. And Sami Zayn just does a little scribble, and all of a sudden, the whole match just changes to a handicap match. And then they just all beat up Strowman. Didn't Strowman successfully tag team with Elias last week? Elias doesn't come out to save him. He gets the crap beat out of him. They put him through a table. Okay, I get it. It's 3-on-1. But, man, they just destroyed Strowman, and no one even comes out to save the guy. Okay, maybe they didn't want to have, anyone come out to save him, but this is supposed to be your monster. You had this guy flipping over trucks, all this type of stuff, flipping over ambulances, doing all crazy type of feats of strength, and then you're having them get beat up by just like basically nobody's on the roster. Sorry to say, you know, Cesaro's a talented guy. Don't really care much for Nakamurphy. You know, Sami Zayn has improved immensely on the mic. But, you know, these are the guys that you're having. A guy that looks like Braun Strowman. This is why it doesn't matter. Like I'm saying, you know, if he loses the IC title, are people going to say you got buried? Can you really say that he's buried? I mean, look at him. He's been buried. These talents, like pretty much as far as I'm concerned, almost everyone on the roster is buried because they're not doing anything with anyone worth a damn. It's all pathetic. They have no idea where they're taking these guys. No one on this roster progresses. You know, look at a guy like Drew McIntyre. You know, they had the guy win the Rumble. Oh, great. This is fantastic. Then he's cutting a promo. I'm responsible for all my own failures. They have him cut a promo where he blames himself for things that Creative and Vince McMahon clearly did to him. And we're supposed to be like, oh, wow, great promo. It just, everything they do is just plain awful, cringeworthy. It never stops. Daniel Bryan defeats Curtis Axel. I had to like search because sometimes when I watch the clips online when I do these reviews, sometimes they don't show what happens before a match. So I had to look if anything happened prior to this match. What did Drew Gallagher? What the hell's his name? Drew Gulak. Excuse me, Drew Gulak. I think Michael Cole actually called him Drew Axel by accident. He mixed up the two guys' names. Like, that's what happens when you have a guy that you haven't seen in months just come out of nowhere. No, nothing happened backstage. He didn't recruit him or anything like that. He just says that Daniel Bryan's got some holes in his game. And I guess he's out there to scout him. But he's not even talking. He's just doing this annoying stuff. Ooh, switch it, Axel. Ooh, like, we haven't seen Axel in months. Haven't seen this guy in months. And they just throw him on TV. And Daniel Bryan is wrestling Curtis Axel. He was wrestling The Fiend for the world title at the Royal Rumble. This guy, he was retired in 2016. And he came back in 2018, right? You know, he came back from a career-threatening injury, right? You know, a career-ending injury. Comes back, risking his health, risking his well-being, and they're having him wrestle Curtis Axel and Heath Slater last week, and now he's going to be engaged in a feud with Drew Gulak of all people, a 205 Live guy, pointing at him. Ooh, I'm really excited for this match. Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. Are you kidding me? We're talking about a guy that won a triple threat match against Randy Orton and Batista, and it was over as hell. And now you're telling me, fast forward about 6 years, and this is what we're getting? It's WrestleMania season. Daniel Bryan in the main event, you know, holding the two prestigious belts above his head, with Batista and Randy Orton, you know, being the losers. And now we're like a month away from Mania, and he's wrestling Curtis Axel. Like, okay, you know, this is one of the things where I'll say this is beyond burial. This looks worse. At least you could say with the Fiend, and we'll get later on that he's in better shape than Daniel Bryan. Not physically, but I mean better shape as far as his status with the company. We'll get to that in a second. Miz and Morrison cut a promo. They're doing that, you know, Miz and Morrison hey ho ho thing, which is just like things like that. It just shows that they have no idea how to handle this talent. You know what I was looking at before doing this video? I was looking at guys that you know, had an answer for the what chant, and they went back to like late 2010. The Miz had just won the WWE Championship, And the guy was so on cutting these promos, and he still is, but I'm just saying, like, at least Miz didn't have to resort to this type of garbage here. And Morrison, the guy looks like $1,000,000. Look at the abs on that guy when he's wearing the sunglasses. Just, that's a star right there. You got 2 stars in the ring. I don't know why they have to do this tag team. It's not like this is not like the Legion of Doom or Demolition or the Dudley Boys where we gotta have these guys together because they were just so amazing. Like, no, they were a good tag team. I think almost everyone agrees that they were better separate. They kind of are better known for being apart, kind of, And Morrison has been, in Impact and all these other different promotions as a singles wrestler. The guy's good, really talented. He does flips and stuff like that, but if you look, he's just way better pacing. Seems like he works a lot safer than a lot of the other indie marks out there, So, like I'm saying, compare him to Seth Rollins. He's never injured a guy in the ring. Not that I know of. He didn't end Sting's career. I'm just making an example there. And then a referee comes down to the ring, tells a ring announcer to make an announcement about an upcoming match at Elimination Chamber. Like what? Like, first of all, who told the referee about this match? And he's I get it. Like, you're gonna say, Brad, it's a fake show, and I'm the one who said that, like, right at the beginning about people, getting bent out of shape about Goldberg and the Fiend. But, if you're having a television show, who is this coming from? Who's saying this? Like I said, get an authority figure on this show. You got 1,000 guys in the back. You got Shawn Michaels back there and a bunch of other dudes who would, I think make pretty good GMs. It's just somebody out there. They fired Bischoff. They could have had him come out and he's gone, but when he was there, they could have had him be GM again. Just somebody to come out there and make the matches, add a little bit of flavor to these segments. It adds a lot when you've got a GM. Here, nothing. You've got this just complete disregard for anything making any type of sense. Like, when's the last time you've seen a ring announcer? A guy who's responsible for just saying who won matches and introducing the guys coming down to the ring, actually telling you about upcoming matches for a pay-per-view. That's what they do at a house show. They'll tell you about, the WWE is going to be returning for Raw in June, but this is like live television and they're doing this. So they're going to put Miz and Morrison in the Elimination Chamber with a bunch of tag teams. Heavy Machinery, Usos, New Day, Lucha House Party for some reason. Like, why? Where have they even been that they're getting a tag title shot? Then they go on and have the Usos defeat Miz and Morrison, a Canadian Destroyer off the middle rope, spiking Morrison's head. Like, okay, like, they just won the tag titles. They're already losing to the Usos right away. Not protecting anybody in the matches, immediately making them, just look like paper champions. This is what I'm saying. This is why it doesn't matter. People are surprised and shocked by the Fiend losing. And then you get stuff like this, like, damn, like, that really was a stiff shot there. Like, I'm kind of surprised the Usos, who usually seem like they work pretty safe, but that just looked a little too dangerous, for my liking. Then we had John Cena coming out, says he's going to sit this WrestleMania out. He wants to leave it to the future. John, the future doesn't look bright. Trust me, they need you, fella. Like, that's the thing. Cena comes out, you already feel the magic, you already feel the aura. You might not like the guy, but you have to admit, when this guy comes out versus, one of the other Mamalukes, you know that this guy, like, okay, Seth Rollins comes out. What do you feel? You know what I mean? Kevin Owens comes out. Like, you really get the same type of energy that when a John Cena comes out to the ring, or the promo skills of when John gets on the mic, and and the force in his voice and the energy. You feel like there's a sense of just care in those promos. Like that he actually kind of like wants to cut the promo. He's not just getting from point A to point B. But like, okay, not a lot of substance here. So, he starts walking away, and the Fiend is on the stage. And what does the Fiend do? What do you think he does? Points to the sign. Then John looks at the sign, does the "you can't see me," and that's it. So you just basically booked two big matches. One of them kind of silently, just by having wrestlers point at signs and look at each other. Like, I'm just saying, doesn't Goldberg, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and The Fiend deserve better? Like, this I will say. Like, these seem like these are going to be pretty good matches. They're matches that I'm looking forward to, that I want to see how they're going to play out. I can tell you one thing. This WrestleMania looks just leagues better than last year's. Like, I think this show will be it's just going to be better than last year. I'm not going to say it's going to be great or amazing, but last year was so horrible. I'm looking at the card. This is a way more attractive card on paper. It just, it looked bad on paper last year, and it was bad in execution too. This looks good on paper, and I'm hoping the execution is at least decent. I'm expecting it will probably be at least decent, maybe mediocre, but I don't think it's going to be horrible. I'm just saying I'll be very surprised if this Mania is just a total flat-out disaster. Won't be surprised, but, it just seems like it will be better. But this, like, when everybody... This is the thing here. When everybody points at the sign, right? That wasn't Charlotte pointing at the sign, Rhea Ripley, like, whoever was pointing at the sign just, like, mere weeks ago. And then you're going to have Fiend, who's supposed to be your most original character, one of your most over characters, right? This guy's got kind of a lore behind him. He's got Firefly Funhouse. He's got split personality and everything. He was just your champion. And the most you could think to do with him and a big star like John Cena is just have this silent exchange. They're looking at each other, and Fiend is going to do the point that everybody does, that everyone makes fun of, that's so generic and so stupid. Like, you just point at something like a caveman, it just magically means something. I don't know who made this rule, or Vince McMahon, or one of the writers backstage, or whoever it is, or maybe Kevin Dunn insists on it because he likes to have a shot. Ooh, I like it when people point at the sign. I don't know. So someone must really love it backstage. I just think it looks really stupid. I understand it's something they've been doing for a while. I gotta find out who did the first point. I have a feeling like maybe even like Batista did it at WrestleMania, for WrestleMania 21 or something like that. Someone did a point during the Ruthless Aggression year. I think there were several, but like, they need to stop doing it. They've been hanging that sign up, I remember, since WrestleMania 20. When it becomes WrestleMania season, they start hanging that sign up there, and it's so people could look at it and point at it. And I get it's supposed to be symbolic. Ooh, WrestleMania is looming above us. I get it. Like, there's supposed to be a sense of allure, and like, ooh, WrestleMania is on the horizon, so we're going to put it up in the sky, hang it from the ceiling. Like, I get it. It's an interesting idea, but when they've been doing the same thing for so many years, and, this is a company that banks on loyalty, fans coming back, right? They're losing plenty of viewers. They lost 700,000 viewers from from last year to this year. And then what have you've got the same type of thing, and the most unique character on the show, he's doing what everybody else has been doing for years. So yeah, and John like has nothing to say to the Fiend. The Fiend is not going to be angry. He just lost his world title. You think like this is the other thing. Like, wouldn't the guy be angry? Okay, if he doesn't want to attack Goldberg, there's no continuity. You could at least have him be angry at Cena and attack him or something. But no, I'm just saying, very very lazy. Like, just get out with like Goldberg and Reigns. And I get it, like, you know, maybe these guys are not the best promo guys in the world, but you've got Bayley cutting a longer promo. You've got far more boring things on the show. You don't want to even build or have anything interesting to do with these things. Okay, oh, there's a few weeks left to WrestleMania, Brad. You know what you've got like a month left or something like that. Yeah. Okay, let's see how the build goes. I'm sure they're going to do many interesting things storyline-wise. Yeah, I'll start holding my breath now. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications that I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.